I'm Allison from Learning at the Primary Pond. I'm a literacy specialist, and in this video, I am so excited to show you one of my favorite resources that I have for free for you. The link will be in the caption. That is great for providing students with phonics practice. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you do that now so that you don't miss out on any of the new videos and freebies that I post about teaching literacy. Okay, so let's talk phonics practice. Now, you're probably familiar with a phonics lesson, right? You teach a skill and probably you have the kids do some practice in that lesson, with whatever you're teaching, right? And when you're first teaching it, you want to be available to them to provide feedback, to give them support. So that's more of like a guided practice scenario. However, we also need our kids to have plenty of independent phonics practice. And that is true for a variety of reasons. Number one, it takes kids, phonics expert Wiley Blevins actually says 4 to 6 weeks of review for a kid to fully master a phonics skill. So it's not like we can just teach one lesson and be like, okay, we're done, we're good. No, they're gonna need reinforcement. And so independent practice can provide some of that reinforcement. So there's that. There's also the fact that kids need retrieval practice, meaning that they are going back in their brains and retrieving information that they have previously learned. So when you provide phonics practice on skills that you have covered in the past, you are giving them opportunities to do that retrieval practice, which helps these skills become more like permanent in their minds. Another thing that we know from research is that distributed practice is very helpful. So like short practice sessions over time versus like a cramming session, for example. I mean, think about studying for a test, right? Maybe when you were in undergrad or high school, you may have been like, oh my gosh, I got this test tomorrow. I got to study for a really long time for it. And maybe you did fine in the test, but as far as long-term, remembering what you learned, it's actually better if you have shorter practices that are distributed over time. And the same thing really applies to kids learning phonics. We do need to have those lessons, right? And maybe we do a bit of longer practice with them, but then we also need to include other shorter practice sessions, and independent work is a great opportunity for that. So there's so many reasons why it is important that your kids continue practicing phonics skills beyond what is happening in your phonics lessons. Now, at the same time, it can be tricky to find activities that will keep your kids engaged, keep them productively practicing without you needing to manage them, without you needing to, be distracted by behaviors and come over and help them. Because most of the time when your kids are practicing fully independently, you will be pulling a small group of students. So you really need them to work on this stuff by themselves. Let me know in the comments so other teachers know that they're not alone if you've ever had students frequently get off task when they're supposed to be practicing independently. Just type off task in the comments. So we know that they need this independent practice. We also know that it can be hard for them to practice productively on their own. And I'm really talking about kindergarten through second grade students here, but I also know that third grade and up teachers, if you happen to be watching this, you may have trouble getting your kids to work independently as well. So I'm going to show you a resource that is really, really handy. It is a win for you, and it is a win for your kids because it's no prep for you, meaning you just print it out, which I love so much. And then it's also a win for your kids because it's fun and it gets them practicing and it helps them stay on task. So when we're choosing independent activities for our kids, we want to choose things that are as simple and straightforward as possible and things that they already know how to do. So this freebie that I have for you in the comments, these are games, and I would recommend playing these in small group before you give them as independent work so that the kids really know how to play them. Because it's a game, it's naturally engaging for them. And there's a ton of different templates, even just in this freebie. Like I do have a bigger set that's available, but even in the freebie, there's just a bunch of different templates to keep them engaged, and they might learn how to play the game, but it looks different, right, on different pages, so they feel like it's fresh and new, and it doesn't feel like work for them, right? Like they're practicing reading and maybe even spelling phonics patterns, but words, but at the same time, it feels like they're just playing, so that's a huge win. Another thing you want to think about when you're choosing independent practice activities for your kids is how to differentiate, because we know that for an activity to be truly independent, kids have to have really mastered that skill or nearly mastered it already. Because if they haven't mastered it, then they really should be you know, having you available to do guided practice with it. It shouldn't be an independent practice activity quite yet because they're just not there. And so we also know that kids in our class have different needs, right? They're kind of all over the place in the scope and sequence and where their learning is, especially when it comes to phonics. So the nice thing about these games is that you can give different groups of kids different games. Maybe you play them in small group and then each group has a different colored folder and they know that they can pull the games from their particular colored folder. These games also have multiplayer options and one-player options. A lot of games you see require more than one kiddo, which is great, and I do love to have them play together, but sometimes, for whatever reason, you might need them to play solo, and so a lot of these games are gonna have a solo option, which is really handy. Okay, now for you, these games are so easy to prep because there really is no prep. You just print them out, right? Let me show you some of these. You add maybe like counters or game pieces or a die, but that's basically it. There is no prep whatsoever. And so when you're a busy classroom teacher, you love that because you already have a million things to do. And the way I use these as a reading interventionist is I like to start sessions with a game to kind of draw the kids in, get them doing something fun. You could also use this in the classroom, like if you're doing small groups, but I like to start with something fun. And because I have kids that are on like just all over the place in terms of skill, like, you know, like I would say like first grade level, kids that I work with all the way up through like fifth grade level, I need something that I can just pull and have ready for all these different groups that I have. And the same is probably true of classroom teachers, right? You have different groups at different levels, so it's so much easier when you can just print something out and it's ready to go versus having to prep like all these pieces and then the kids lose the pieces. So I do love no prep games. All right, like I said, these games for K2 are totally free. I do have a bigger set, but you can get the free set, which has all of these and more in the link in the caption. So definitely grab those. They will make your life so much easier and your kids will have fun playing them too while they practice and they don't even realize that they're learning at the same time they're practicing. Thanks so much for watching this. Again, I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to get your free download. I will see you in my next video, but before you leave, I would love it if you'd hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.